Perception is very different from the reality, right?
Absolutely.
So it's at variance from reality.
What is the evolution that comes to your mind, or what are the things that you see compared to, let's say, 15 years back to today, how insurance is being distributed online? What are your thoughts on it?
But in today's age,
Right.
I would probably look at buying term insurance.
If you were 25 again, what kind of insurance planning would you do for yourself?
So firstly, once you start your job, first thing you should do is definitely buy term insurance. It comes cheap,
Yeah.
you're in good health, and you can buy it for 40, 50 years. Yeah.
And I think people used to be scared facing West Indies, in West Indies especially.
Yeah.
And
Across the world, actually.
Across the world, yeah.
Yeah.
Hi everyone, we have Vishal here. Worked with him for around 4-5 years, different teams, but he was someone I would always look up to for any kind of knowledge gain or meeting where I wanted to understand anything with respect to strategy or online insurance distribution. A veteran in the industry, I think most of the people in the insurance industry, especially life insurance industry, when it comes to online sales, look up to him. Welcome to him at Life Uncovered with Vaibhav. Welcome, sir. Thank you for your time. First thing first, how are you? What are you doing? And are you following the India-England Test Series? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, of course, Vaibhav. So very glad to be on this show with you. Yeah, I've been doing well. After 25 years of corporate life, I've taken a sabbatical right now.
Yeah.
And, as we just talked briefly, enjoying a lot of Test cricket. India-England series is on. And it's been some fantastic Test matches. The fourth one is on right now as we talk. So looking forward to how it progresses.
Absolutely. In fact, from that, we saw that Rishab Pant hit a 50 even after fracture.
Yeah.
We have seen a lot of players, including Kumble and a lot of cricketers. Somehow, don't you feel that their performance suddenly spikes up after an injury, or what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so if you have to be at the cutting edge of any field, right, especially sports, right, you have that inherent fighting spirit within you. And that's what some of these top-notch sportsmen bring to the table. Yeah? Whether it's Anil Kumble with his jaw and the bandage on the jaw, whether
Right.
it's Rishab who had a fractured foot and then came back to bat
Right.
the next day. I mean, it's quite common in sports, and just bouncing back from adversity is what sports in a way teaches you. And if you have to compete at the top, you have to give your best, and sometimes it's with in not so perfect physical conditions as well, right? And while we talk about physical conditions, a lot of sportsmen also go through a lot of mental health challenges and other
Right.
challenges. And players like Marcus Trescothick have written books around
Correct.
it. So mental health, physical health, all of that has to be overcome in a cutthroat world.
In fact, Ben Stokes actually took retirement once.
Yeah.
To cope with the mental stress. Nothing physically as an issue, but mental stress.
Absolutely. So it's quite common, and it's not looked down upon nowadays. It used to be maybe a decade or 15 years back. Even Simone Biles in the Olympics, right?
Yeah.
She didn't take that attempt essentially
Right.
at the Olympics to win a gold medal because she was not feeling mentally well at that point of time.
Absolutely. In fact, there are two things that come to my mind. One is around cricket, the other is around Olympics. On Olympics, sticking because you've mentioned, one of the swimming championships for the gold medal, Phelps actually had water in his glasses.
Right.
For last 25 or 50 odd meters, but he still swam because he had practice for those situations. So a lot of these professional athletes practice keeping those adversities in mind, that suddenly something may go wrong, but you have to be ready. What are your thoughts on that?
No, I think, as they say, well prepared is half the battle won, right? So,
Right.
But this preparation in some cases continues for decades, right?
Right.
And it's only then that you reach the pinnacle of sport or your career or anything. So you have to continuously improve and continuously prepare for all sorts of adversities. And, that is what the work you and your team are also doing in terms of helping people prepare for any eventuality or adversities. And it's similar. I mean, there are some commonalities between sport and life to that extent.
Yeah, that way, yes, insurance is largely getting ready for that one bad day. But coming back off insurance, if I look at sports, within cricket also, what were your thoughts when you looked at Rishab Pant as the brand ambassador of your previous organization?
Yeah, so the thing at that point of time was, I think India is a young demography. The average age is about 29. India is underpenetrated as far as protection and life insurance is concerned. And, and as we just spoke, in sports, it's always about bouncing back from adversity.
Right.
Right. So there was that unfortunate incident that Rishab had to go through a couple of years back. And when he had just started his path of recovery, we thought he would be the right brand ambassador to kind of speak about life insurance and making people aware of the need of life insurance across India. So that was the context at that point of time.
Coming back to the India-England Test series, we are also having Australia-West Indies Test series at the same time.
Yeah.
But don't you see how cricket has evolved over the last 3 or 4 decades, where people absolutely are not following that much the West Indian cricket, what it used to be? It used to be at the forefront.
Yeah.
And I think people used to be scared facing West Indies, in West Indies especially.
Yeah.
And
across the world, actually.
Across the world, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so what happens, see, you might be at the top today, but if others catch up, right? We've all studied business, right? And competitive intensity and how all of it works. So once other teams across the world kind of started having those investments come into cricket, right? Especially after 1983, for example,
right.
Whatever happened in India, right? We had a flurry of stars in every decade. So you had Kapil and Sunny Gavaskar and everybody else. Then you had Tendulkar, followed by Ganguly, Dravid, Sehwag, then Dhoni, Kohli, Yuvraj.
Right.
And now, it's the next gang, right? So what happens, there is a certain breakthrough moment in sport in any country, right? And as it attracts younger people and as people adopt technology, they can get better and better, right? Whereas teams, organizations, or countries which are not investing in themselves, right?
Yeah.
They tend to lose track. So it's just like market share, right? You might be a market share leader today in the industry, but if you don't keep on improvising, don't keep on working, then you will get knocked off. I think that's what has happened with the West Indian team over the years. I mean, in people's hearts, you still want West Indies to do well.
Right.
There's
still the feel good.
Yeah, you still see that spark when young players come up.
Right.
They continue to do well in the Premier Leagues and everything else, right? But it's just in formal Test cricket, one-day cricket, you might not see them do as well, as often as you would like them to.
Absolutely. In fact, that's a classic example when you spoke about market share being lost, where Australia, I think, has been on the top for now multiple decades because they are still investing.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things which I keep on looking at with insurance as well. Certain companies, once they take the lead, if they don't let go of the throttle, they will continue to be.
So it's all about, in sports, it's all about infrastructure. For example, if you have the stadiums, if there's a culture built out in schools, colleges, young kids growing up, sports is not looked down upon and, it's actually encouraged, right? So those countries continue to do well. And obviously, then they bring in the innovation, right? The innovation can be in the sport itself. It can be in the way it's broadcasted. It can be in the way your stadiums are set up and infrastructure is set up. You never heard about drop-down pitches, for example, in cricket, right?
Yeah.
Cricket grounds get transformed into football grounds or rugby grounds.
Correct. Even concerts.
Even concerts and some of these places, right? And it's very encouraged in school as well. And similarly, organizations, right? They need to encourage innovation, right? They need to encourage experimentation.
Right.
They need to keep coming out with new products, right? It can be insurance, it can be the world of technology. We speak a lot or hear a lot about artificial intelligence and how it's going to impact the business of, let's say, the IT services companies now.
Correct.
So if you don't react or move with the times, then you're going to get left behind.
From that, if I pick, and I think a lot of followers of ours are in their 20s and early 30s, what are the 2-3 things you would want them to always keep with them? Maybe some reading of books or online something. What are the suggestions you want to give them, that assuming there's a 40-50 year career left in front of them, what is it that they need? Or maybe if not 40-50, maybe 25-30, what is it that they should continue to do so that they don't fade out in their career?
Yeah, so I think your peak productivity is typically you can say between 25 and 50, right? For most most people, right, during their work lives. So I think, and 25 years is a fairly long time. The way the world is getting disrupted in terms of ideas, technology, uh, globalization at
Correct.
one end and deglobalization at the other end,
Correct.
right?
Absolutely.
Both happening in
Yeah.
parallel. So obviously you need to have a skill set which is rooted firmly, right? This could be in sciences, this could be in the field of commerce, or in some artistic venture or whatever.
Right.
But you have to be, let's say, in the top percentile, few percentile, right?
Correct.
And therefore, that building of that skill set is very, very important during your college years, right? And once you start working, right, the work environment is very, very different. And it's okay to experiment early on in your career, but at the same time, it's very important to acquire new skills as you kind of maybe switch jobs or do something of that sort. Or if you're working in the same company or running your own venture, work in different areas, right? I mean, if, for example, you're running your own venture right now, you're responsible for maybe product build out, technology, HR, hiring, distribution. I mean, I can keep adding on to it, right? So these are skill sets which are needed to build a business. And so when you start working, you start with one, let's say one expertise, but over a period of time, try and build expertise in at least 3-4 fields, so that if you want to start your own business or grow in your career within the organization, or reach the very top, then you are recognized as somebody who has multiple skill sets. So I think most people don't have general awareness about what's happening in the world around them. Kuएं का मेंढक, frog in a well syndrome, as one may call it. So I think just reading, getting a lot of knowledge, and being aware of what's happening around you. A lot of people nowadays, what we call Gen Zs, they're pretty much more aware than
what we were
what the millennials were, and thanks to technology and everything. I mean, that is a fact. The second piece is, I think, building relationships is very, very critical, right? You can get too focused on yourself and not focus on the relationships. And this could be work relationships, personal relationships, because finally, it's people who are helpful to people, not machines who are going to be helpful to people. So I think build those relationships. Third, have a lot of integrity in your work. And I was speaking to a friend who said it's very difficult to find professional people to work with, and as basic as people who come on time for meetings, people who can write proper emails, and some of these things, like very basic things. If you get it right, that might be half the battle. One to start with. So just stay on the top of the curve in terms of what's happening in your industry and in the world around you, and that should take you through. And part of it can come through reading, and I mean, nowadays social media and everything informs people a lot.
Sir, on those, I'll add 2 cents from my side also, that when I meet a lot of youngsters, especially in our team, which is predominantly young 20s, they ask questions that how do you know so many people in the industry, or when we go and meet people in insurance industry or a lot of others. And in fact, our first round fundraise with Angels was largely people I knew. The point which I share with them is, it's very difficult to make fresh relationships and in your 40s. You have to make the relationship in your 20s or maybe early 30s, but keep them engaged. It's about a bamboo shoot. You have to water it for a long time and suddenly it'll come out. So you need to build as many relationships, and like you rightly said, it's about human being to human being, not machine to machine. But these relationships will be the key deciding factor between how we go from point A to point B, especially with AI getting evolved and most of the work technically moving towards artificial intelligence. Nothing, at least as of now, I think, can replace the human connections.
Yeah, that's absolutely true here. I mean, people who tend to be more engaged with other people, right? I mean, they tend to do better, not just at work, but in many other areas, right?
Correct.
And I mean, they can get quicker solutions to their problems. And these could be health-related issues. These could be job-related challenges.
Correct.
Any help that you need is more easily available, right? If you are you've built a network of people rather than you being a lone warrior in that sense, or a lone wolf.
So in fact, around 15 years back, I had a line manager or a boss of mine, Pradeep, You know him.
Yeah.
And he used to share this a lot of times with me, that whenever you're hiring or building a team and things like that, look at people who have played team sports, preferably contact sports, but at least team sports as a child, because that's the ability of one. Sports teaches you this fantastic thing that you fall and then you rise again.
Sports also teaches you to lose.
Exactly. And bounce back
Yeah.
and not have that grudge that I've lost.
Yeah.
You may be a winner on day one. You may have hit a century today, but tomorrow, even if you have hit a century or you failed, all of you start with zero.
Yeah.
So that's, and a team sport player also makes you understand that it's about the team winning.
Yeah.
Even if if you're an outstanding performer,
Yeah.
but if the team is not doing well, it's of no use.
Yeah.
So this is the advice I give youngsters, that okay, if you've reached the age of 24, 25, it's difficult to get into team sports now, but at least follow them. At least follow a sport that you like, have the ability to fail, because that is the most important thing, which I feel a lot of youngsters and even people of our age also many a times don't know how to actually bounce back after failure. So what are your thoughts on that?
No, that's absolutely true, right? I mean, it can be true in sports. It's also true in corporates, right?
Correct.
I mean, you might have 10 ideas to implement. Now, out of those 10 ideas, 2 or 3 might succeed, right? I mean, if you even listen to somebody like a Warren Buffett,
Right.
He's been investing for 6, 7 decades.
Right.
And he said it's 12 investments that he's made over these 6 decades or so, which have made a difference to the portfolio. Right? So all the alpha that he's generated over 6 decades is probably attributable to 12 ideas. That's one idea in 5 years, right?
Right.
on average.
Absolutely.
So you will not get, and the investments might have been in hundreds, right? So
Right.
12 out of 300, 400, whatever number of investments he would have done. So, or Berkshire Hathaway would have done. So,
Right.
so that is what matters, right? You get the big hits, right? You'll not always succeed. You'll lose in terms of some thought processes. You'll lose some corporate battles. You can lose a sporting competition.
Right.
But the thing is, you have to always bounce back from
Absolutely.
there. So that's a really important lesson here.
Coming to the insurance world, because no one understands online insurance distribution, at least in India, the way you do. What is the evolution that comes to your mind, or what are the things that you see compared to, let's say, 15 years back to today, how insurance is being distributed online? What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, maybe we can step a little back
Sure.
to 2000 when insurance in India got privatized. So, traditional way of insurance selling was only through agents,
Right.
So that remains very, very important. All insurance companies have their proprietary agency workforce, right? Banks were not utilized as distribution channels.
Right.
Over a period of time, banks started getting used as distribution channels, and that is what is commonly called as bank assurance in industry parlance. And obviously, with the right checks and balances in place, that channel has continued to do reasonably well. Then, you have companies do have their own direct field sales. They also have broking partners through whom insurance selling and servicing happens. But what has happened, let's say in the last 15 years, to come specifically to your question, is technology has started to play a very important role.
Right.
So number one, of course, is the direct-to-consumer business, right? So there are aggregators who sell policies, aggregate products from various manufacturers, put them out online, and as consumers, you can make that decision.
Right.
And help and service, etc., is available in case you need some additional information beyond what is available on the website.
Right.
Also, a lot of young consumers are looking at buying protection and term insurance. Right? These are products which can be relatively easily compared on various parameters, be it price, be it claim settlement ratio, and some other metrics that one may look at. So the use of technology obviously has evolved as far as insurance distribution is concerned, first in direct to consumer.
Right.
And then what has happened, you can say post-COVID, or I mean, for a lot of companies, the journey started before that. But essentially, the inflection point was during COVID, right? When face-to-face interaction with consumers was really difficult, and the demand for insurance had again started to go, through the roof in some ways. And a lot of the traditional distributors had no choice but to adopt technology. And
Correct.
that's where technology started to make a lot of difference as far as distribution is concerned. But technology in insurance is not just used for distribution, it's used across the value chain, right? It could be in terms of risk management, underwriting, right? Now, the context here is you're sitting as a distributor with me as a customer.
Right.
You need to be able to tell me whether what is the pricing of my policy, what is the kind of documentation that I need, whether it will be what kind of underwriting or risk mitigation requirements need to be put in place, and so
Right.
on and so forth. Right now, you have to give that answer to me immediately, and hopefully from the manufacturer, you need that decision immediately.
Correct.
Right. So if you can get an underwriting decision on the spot,
Right.
in some sense, so that kind of makes the process a lot more seamless for the consumer, right? Because we are all used to experiences. I mean, 5 years back, we all used to speak about e-commerce and ordering from the Amazons and the Flipkarts of the world.
Correct.
Now we are talking the language of quick commerce, right?
Absolutely.
With Blinkit, Instamart, Zepto, and some of these other players. I mean, the delivery happens in 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes.
Absolutely.
What used to be 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, right, is now down to minutes, right?
Absolutely.
So from a customer experience standpoint, the job of technology is to make things better, right? And that is what insurance companies and their distribution platforms have to, or other distribution platforms which kind of sell insurance have to ensure, right? The customer experience comes first, and of course, you have to manage the risk at the back end.
So, out of the things that you've just said, one thing that stands out to me is the quick commerce, evolution of quick commerce in India. And the beauty is, if anyone would have asked us, both of us, maybe 3 years back, do you want it in 5-10 minutes? I would have said, I don't mind
Yeah.
waiting. We were very happy with the 1-day delivery in Amazon.
Yeah.
But till the time we received it. Similarly, there are a lot of things in insurance which you see maybe in some developed markets, or maybe even in some South Asian markets, which are not available in India, or even if it doesn't exist. So if there are 2 or 3 things which you think the industry should look at, or as a customer you think this is something which will create a wow from an experience or a product or servicing or any kind of thing, what could be those things?
Yeah, so there are some differences, right? It's not apple to apple in the sense that an insurance product has to be brought or purchased with a certain long-term mindset.
Sure.
Right? It cannot be like bought in a jiffy. So, if you don't like it, let's say you've ordered an ice cream, you don't like it, you won't order it the next time.
Right.
On
Absolutely.
quick commerce. But an insurance product involves a certain amount of commitment. So, I think making the customer understand the product completely is really, really important, because from a customer's perspective, he's invested in it for, let's say, the next 30, 40 years in some sense, or the returns will come
Right.
after that, or, the claim by his nominee or her nominee may come a few decades down the line when the customer himself or herself may not
Right.
be present, right? So making the customer understand the product,
Right.
the inclusions and exclusions of the product is really, really important. And their customers have a role to play, the advisors have a role to play, and the insurance company has a role to play. So I think that is the crux of the conversation. Ultimately, it's as they say, it's a product of utmost good faith.
Right.
So trust is absolutely critical. Once you have established trust and the customer understands the product,
Right.
then it's about seamless experience, right? And the seamless experience in India is far superior than in some of the other markets of the world, and
Right.
that's thanks to the digital infrastructure which has been built out in India. Whether it's Jan Dhan, Aadhaar, the mobile infrastructure,
Right.
So all of that is in place, and even the regulators putting more efforts in terms of Bima Sugam and other platforms which are going to
Correct.
come very, very shortly in terms of ensuring a seamless experience for the customer, and even the insurance industry is kind of committed towards it. The third aspect, again, India's in terms of regulations and everything is reasonably superior in terms of claim settlement.
Right.
So as long as the customer understands the product, we are able to offer an experience, which is really, really quick once the customer has understood the product, and give the customer a decision. And thirdly, the moment of truth is the claim settlement process.
Yeah.
That again in India is fairly good, but as we say, there's always room for improvement, right?
Absolutely.
So you can keep going on a path of continuous improvement, and if you kind of ensure that these three things are managed well, then we would have done a good job. or the industry would have done a good job. Yeah.
So if I recap for the people who are watching, what Sir said, most importantly is make the product either so simple for the customer to understand, or make the explanation in a easier or a simpler way so that they understand what's there in the product. Followed by, if the process can be as smooth as possible so that the onboarding journey is frictionless or has less friction as far as possible. And a lot of credit goes to the digital infrastructure that the entire country has been provided with. And third thing is the overall claim that happens. And actually insurance is as a product utilized only when the claim happens. Otherwise, you're just buying a potential services only when the claim happens.
Yeah.
So these are the three things. And one more thing which you had mentioned in the beginning, which I think is the envelope for all the three, is trust. So trust actually is super critical. So if you are a potential distributor, if you are someone looking at insurance as a opportunity to job creation or anything, remember that these are the three things along with trust. So if trust is missing, even the best product proposition will be missing.
Yeah, I mean, even for a distributor, it makes sense, right? To kind of sell right, because a lot of the incentive in some sense is linked to the renewal of the policy and the customer coming back and sticking with the policy and paying the renewal premium, right? So the economics of the distributor, the insurance company, and the customer are all aligned in that sense, right?
Absolutely. It is aligned, and a lot of things works, but many a times the trust deficit is very high. So, for example, one of our guests has spoken about the minute he sees anyone who talks about insurance, he suddenly feels that wo to yahan bechne aaya hai, without understanding that there is his own need that needs to be covered.
Absolutely.
So that trust, I think, is something over the period of last 20 odd years has gone on a lower side for the industry.
No, I think it's perception, but if you look at the revenues and how the industry has grown, that doesn't hold true in that sense.
No, I would say that in actuality it's not true.
Yeah.
But the perception that's got built around it.
Yeah, the perception is very different from the reality, right?
Absolutely.
So it's at variance from reality.
Absolutely.
And therefore, I think what you're doing in terms of customer education and educating customers, right? Both through your platform and through your distributors, essentially is all about changing some of this perception.
Absolutely. So actually the journey started in a way where I was talking to a friend of mine who, being a school friend, had the same age and similar experience, but working in a tech company called TCS. And when he spoke to me, and I was on a sabbatical at that point of time, and his words were literally, Vaibhav, मेरी corporate ने जो मेरे को policy दी है अच्छी है या बुरी? And I said, how do I know that? Either share your policy or, it's not like a public, everyone knows कि TCS का क्या cover है. And then my second question was, are you talking about health or life? Because these are the two covers which an organization gives. And this guy, dear friend of mine, said, difference hota hai kya? And that's when it was like a eureka moment for me. Having spent 2 decades in the industry, a lot of things were coming naturally to me, or I assumed people would know the difference. But that's when I realized people don't know a lot of differences, and hence lack of knowledge leads to lack of trust to a certain extent.
Yeah, that's true. And I think a lot of the onus goes on the customers as well, right? Now, if you have everything which is available through portals and companies' websites give a lot of information, there are independent people who write blogs on it. There are videos around products. You have to invest some time to understand a product, especially if you're doing a long-term commitment, right? So even if, let's say, you're paying 30,000 a year towards your insurance policy, but you're going to pay it for 40 years. I mean, that's a significant sum, right? You're going to pay 12 lakh rupees.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
At least spend the time that you spend maybe shopping at the supermarket for your vegetables. At least give it that much time.
Exactly.
In terms of researching, right?
Yeah. I very beautifully put this equivalence of 12 lakhs. So actually, if I look at it, the cover may be for 4 crores or 3 crores. So it's a product worth 3-4 crores that you're buying. And the same person, many a times, if they're buying an electric razor or a new handset or something which is worth few thousands, would go on YouTube, would learn a lot about the product, would do their research, would do a product comparison videos.
Yeah, you'll figure out कहाँ पे सस्ता मिल रहा है. Then once you've figured out what platform you're getting it cheaper, which credit card is giving you the best offer.
Absolutely. And then you would see those unboxing videos that tearing of sound, but I've
Yeah.
never seen anyone spend even 5 minutes wanting to understand.
Yeah, I mean that again is reality, right? In some
Yeah.
sense, where and they I mean that is somewhere that the insurance industry maybe has to spend some more effort in terms of and the distribution force has to spend that effort. Right?
Absolutely. I think to make insurance education interesting to a certain extent.
Make insurance great again.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Miga.
Miga.
Yeah. Take it. Miga has come from him for the first time. I've never heard. So if it ever is utilized, it's his word. One of the last few questions. If you were 25 today, on retrospective, because now you've seen
Yeah.
how your life has got evolved, how your health conditions and family and everything has got evolved. If you were 25 again, what kind of insurance planning would you do for yourself?
Yeah.
What are the plans that you would want your 25 to buy?
Yeah. So if I'm 25 right now, so when I was 25, we were essentially working with the old tax regime and everything. So
Right.
there were a lot of nudges to buy life insurance products at that point of time. There were, it was essentially the public sector product that was sold because
Right.
this was in 2001, I guess, 2000,
Right.
2001, right? So you would essentially buy for tax saving.
Sure.
Right, and then over a period of time, some corpus will get accumulated. But in today's age,
Right.
I would probably look at buying term insurance upfront to start with.
Sure.
Right, because I think we are living in nuclear families. There's a lot more job insecurities.
Right.
And a lot of other things. Right, our families are smaller. We don't have enough social security and all of that. So, firstly, once you start your job, the first thing you should do is definitely buy term insurance. It comes cheap,
Yeah.
you're in good health, and you can buy it for 40, 50 years. And as, let's say, your income level goes up, 5, 7 years down the line, your life stage changes, maybe you may want to top it up with another insurance cover, life
Right.
insurance cover. But definitely 15 to 20 times your current income is what you should buy life insurance cover for.
Right.
And then figure out what your investment requirements are.
Sure.
What you can also do is plan for your retirement. Now,
Right.
that can happen through any vehicle of your choice. I'm not necessarily recommending a vehicle here, but do save a bit for, let's say, retirement.
Right.
And I'm not saying necessarily retirement may happen at 60, it may happen at 40, it may happen. I mean, by retirement, I mean formal work
Yeah.
and employment, right? Or unless you're self-employed or something. Plan definitely for a corpus that you can pull out, let's say, 20 years later.
Thanks a lot for coming over here. As a token of appreciation, this is a personalized gift all the way from Jodhpur. We believe in, just like insurance, everyone needs something of their own.
Thank you so much, Vaibhav.
Next time, hopefully, we'll meet in the Blue City.
Yeah.
Jodhpur is known as the Blue City and Umaid Bhavan is the palace.
Thank you so
So,
much, Vaibhav. And
thanks
it
a
was a
lot.
pleasure being on your show. And
Our
hope
pleasure.
to catch up soon again.
Done. Thanks a lot.